You're listening to Live Wild Radio, the part-time adventure podcast.
Join us as we explore how outdoor adventures build mind, body, and spirit.
Welcome back, friends, to Live Wild Radio, the fitness and adventure podcast. Because I came up with that little tagline, which is different than our original tagline, and I remember it. Because most of the time when Catherine, she does it, she doesn't get it in the right order or something. Because she didn't come up with it. Or it's not on cue cards. Like our assistant holding up cue cards or having a teleprompter.
Right.
Yeah, like we have any of that shit. So, if you're listening to this, unless you are south of the equator, it is now well and truly autumn.
And it's dark around 6:30.
Because actually it's dark earlier than that, sweetie, because I left work at 6 today, rode my bike home in the dark.
That's true.
Luckily, I have 4 lights on my bike. 2 on the front, 2 on the back.
Yeah.
Because Catherine loves me so much that every time, I'm not all lit up, she's like worried I'm going to die. So. I need
somebody to make me dinner.
Yeah. Because I am the king of taking leftovers and turning them into things.
You are.
I did that last night. It was quite good.
It was super delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay at cooking, like, fresh ingredients. But I'm a bloody rock star at turning the leftovers in the fridge into something palatable.
Yeah.
It's like, we got a little bit of this and a little bit of this and...
Yeah.
Okay.
Voila.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about the
effects of the fact that it's dark and getting chilly.
Yeah. So this is, I guess, a mental health episode.
Sure.
Getting through this time of the year, this seasonal time of the year.
Yeah.
But I think, it's common, right? Just the change in season.
Yes, they even call it
the
seasonal affected disorder.
Yeah.
I wonder, is that actually in the real book? Like the DSM, the diagnostic manual?
The diagnostic manual?
Yeah, like the psychological, where things are like official maladies. She's going to Google it now.
I am.
Is seasonal affected disorder like an actual thing? That's a recognized condition. That'll be interesting. Because if it's not a recognized condition, at least it is a, what's the best way to put it? A observable occurrence. Because, contrary to all the Starbucks commercials and their pumpkin spice lattes, fall has sort of certain things going for it, but the reduced daylight and less than stellar weather conditions to play outside certainly can leave you in a bit of a bummer mood, encouraging kind of that vibe to hibernate.
It is official.
It is.
Yeah. SAD has been linked to a biochemical imbalance in the brain prompted by shorter daylight hours and less sunlight in the winter. As seasons change, people experience a shift in their biological internal clock or circadian rhythm, and that can cause them to be out of step with their daily schedule. So it's more common in people living far from the equator, where there are fewer daylight hours in the winter.
So
it's a thing.
I think next time, I'm feeling a bit, run down from, or what have you, I'm just going to call in. I have SAD. Yeah, I have a big case of the SAD.
Yeah, so, it's
Speaking of the microphone, sweetie.
Sorry, yeah, because I'm reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely affects people's sleep, loss of energy, just feelings of worthless or guilty, difficulty concentrating, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, man. I've
so
at one point or another had all of those feelings.
Do you know, and you have, right? Because we talked about that on our other episode
Yeah.
a while back. The faces of what do we call it? The
Faces of Mental Health or something.
Yeah, that was a really good episode.
Yeah. Not nearly as popular
with
as our.
Eric and Alyssa.
Yeah.
Right.
Not nearly as possible or as popular as our Faces of Death episode. No, never mind. Anybody who before the internet, you could buy these videos and it was just people dying.
Okay.
Like, it's like a thing.
What?
Yeah, it was a fucked up thing called Faces of Death.
Why would you watch that?
Because people are fucked up.
Like you were watching that?
No, I never watched it.
Okay.
Even at a younger age, I was smart enough to know there's just shit you can't unsee.
What? They really? Anyway.
Yes, it was
I'm
the thing.
not interested in that.
Yes.
Yeah, so getting back on topic.
And I'm glad that the woman I sleep next to isn't interested in that.
Yeah. Yeah, getting back on topic. It's I didn't actually start experiencing it until
After your kids were born?
no, pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's when I really started to notice it. And I bought one of those lights you put at your desk.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call them?
Lights.
It's a different kind of. Anyways.
Full spectrum light or something.
Yeah.
Which is different
You get
than
it at Costco for like $100, something like that. Anyway, whatever. There's different shades of it.
Yeah.
I do find, I guess, LED lighting helpful.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right kind of. No, sorry, not LED. Fluorescent lighting.
Oh, you find that helpful?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've always liked really, really bright light. That's why when we go to the climbing gym, that's what they have.
Yeah.
And I really like that, How about you? Have you always experienced that?
Yeah. Basically partly because most of the things I love to do are good weather things.
Yeah.
Because, and the thing is, there are some things I like to do in winter. But this isn't winter. So,
right.
and I think it's one of those things of like being task oriented, right? If I have a thing to do, I'm happy. Right? And I think for me, one of the biggest things you run into with this time of year, right? Because we don't have snow. Like, it's not winter, but it's just bleh out there, right? It's coldish. It's wet. It's dark, right? So it's not conducive to riding your bike. You're not going to rock climb outdoors. You're not going to really... You can go for a hike, but it's not ideal. You're not going to go sit on a patio, have a beer. Just any of the things that are kind of fun summery things, or warmer weather things. Yeah.
And I think for people who live in condos, it's harder, I say, because at least when I had a bigger house that I lived at with a yard.
Yeah.
I had to cut the grass, I'd rake the leaves, I would garden, whatever, which is good for you, right? It gets you out there. Whereas now we have a lot less. I have a lot less to care for. And so I don't know. And obviously inherently all that's exercise, that's movement, that's outdoors, fresh air, right? Yeah. Like tonight I went for a walk and obviously this is one of the great things you can do is, despite it being this kind of year that there's a lot of snow that you can go snowshoeing in or
skiing or anything like that.
Whatever. It's very fresh out. Like it's warm in the house when you get outside. It's nice and fresh, and it is very refreshing to go for a walk at this time of the year. I really like it, and it's not like bitter cold or anything. Yeah.
Whereas we ran into the thing yesterday, partway through the day, like it was wet all day, and then we had like torrential rains for about an hour. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's just, I guess we're not going outside right now. It was the beat on the windows kind of rain.
Yeah. So we bring this all up because obviously, where we're focused on outdoor adventure and fitness in particular, and a lot of that was dependent on the outdoors or even indoors. Like, how do you feel? Do you still have your mojo? For those of you that need a little of that to go work out, right? It's that we both agree that we always feel better after working out. Yeah. And there's been a lot of videos I've noticed on Instagram of people who are super buff and they're like people ask why I do this over and over and over again. It has nothing, and I wouldn't necessarily agree. It has nothing to do with how they look, but they say it's because it's
how it makes you feel. Yeah.
I do this because I feel good. I need it to get through my day.
Yeah.
And I would agree that.
Well, and I think one of the byproducts, if you do like regular exercise and you don't eat like shit, if you lift, if you cardio, if you stretch, if you progressively overload, you do that consistently enough and you're going to end up looking good. Right. So even you're doing it, a lot of times to feel good. And that's one of the things I hear from my clients. Right. It's like, the looking better. That's, losing some weight and getting some muscles and stuff. That's cool. But like, I feel good.
Yeah. And so I have a question about that. Like what's the minimum dose that you need to do to get those endorphins going? Whether it be cardio or strength training or stretching or like what is going to be the minimum to get something? And maybe it's dependent on the person as well.
Yeah, there's probably some variation in there because the fitter you are, the more you need. But like really you're talking like 15 or 20 minutes is a minimum effective dose. Okay. Like if you were
what kind of effort?
So, well, the shorter your effort, the harder it needs to be.
Okay.
But you run into the thing where, like, if you think of, say, something like strength training, and I think for a lot of people, this is where, because they're time limited, it's where my EMOM things, right, where maybe you pick 3 exercises, you do a set of one exercise the first minute, a set of the other exercise 2 the next minute, exercise 3 the third minute, and you just repeat that 5 times for 15 minutes. You've done 5 sets of each exercise. But because you're not getting massive rest in between, like if you just did a set of 5 push-ups, a set of 5 goblet squats, and a set of 10 kettlebell swings, right? It's not the best workout in the world, but you've hit a bit of everything. And you're going to get your heart rate up. And, if you've used adequate load, you're going to cause some stress on the muscles. So it's not the perfect way to be a bodybuilder. It's not the perfect way to build cardio. But you're getting a bit of both, and you'll get some adaptation, right? And it's that kind of workout I find to be a kickstart to your mood.
Oh, for sure. And, there's nothing better. It sets the tone for the rest of the day.
Yeah, because what did we do this morning?
Yeah, so mobility work to start, and then I just did an upper body workout myself.
Because that's what you had programmed.
Yeah, and so 6 exercises in total. It took me about maybe 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whereas, my workout was 20 minutes of kettlebell snatches and 10 minutes of suitcase carries. It was just dumb simple.
Yeah.
It's basically, did sets of 3 snatches, like 3 one arm, put it down, shake it out, 3 the other arm, shake it out, and just repeat that for 20 minutes. And, I ended up getting a total of 50 reps in 20 minutes per arm. So that's 100 snatches total. And then basically suitcase carry is just pick up a weight and walk with it in one hand, and then, walk a certain distance and then switch hands and walk the same distance with the other hand. And that workout works just about everything in the body as well.
Right.
And, there's a bit of a cardio there. And, then tomorrow I'll do something different.
Right.
But it's a half-hour workout.
Yeah. And I find, because we woke up at around 6:15.
Yeah.
And I asked Winston to help me get up because, see, there's a thing where I will get up if somebody who does not live at this house is coming over
to work out.
to work out, or I have to go meet them. I'm committed. I'm there.
Yep.
I've gotten up at 5:30 to
go bike ride or
6, go get my coffee at 5:45, whatever. And now I'm finding it progressively more difficult to get up. So I was dragging my butt this morning because I had not been working out for a bit, and I was getting back into the game again. And I was just glad, I was working on a bit of mobility for my ankle and my knees because they were off. But I have no choice.
Yeah.
And I always feel better doing it. So, something's always better than nothing. So if you're, been sitting on the couch or you've fallen off the wagon, just go do.
Yeah. Go for a walk. Do push-ups. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, obviously, you can create a program.
Yeah.
But this first step is just move, period.
Well, number one, plan it and schedule it. Because you're more likely to execute if you have already set an intention to do it the next day or at some point, throughout the week. Then just go do.
And put it on the schedule, like your calendar on your phone.
Yeah, and actually when you plan and schedule it, plan in advance what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So when you go and do it, you just do. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Just do it.
Yeah, and one of the simplest things, like if you think about, strength training, if you just get the 4, 5 primary sort of patterns of push, pull, hinge, squat, carry, right? If you just did like 3 times a week, you did 3 sets of each of those, like, 3 sets of, call it push-ups, 3 sets of body rows, 3 sets of goblet squats, 3 sets of kettlebell swings, and 3 sets of suitcase carries. And just over time, gradually add it a little bit.
Yeah.
Whether it's weight, reps, number of sets. You could progress like that for so fucking so long.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to be rocket science. Like if you did that 3 days a week, and then, 3 days a week of, some type of cardio, could just be like put on a little backpack and go for a half hour to 45-minute walk.
And I think too, it's good that throughout your day to have all these little exercise snacks.
Yeah.
That Allison used to talk about, who we've had on the podcast. She's a physiotherapist. And, just to reinvigorate yourself, switch it up, get off your butt. If you work at a desk job, get some movement in there. In fact, when you're working at a desk job, you want to be getting up every 45 minutes, move around.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity to do, say, some kettlebell swings.
Yeah. Do some body weight squats.
10 minutes of that, say 10 sets of 10, whatever, squats, whatever. Just all those things add up and they, I think, help you maintain, get some endorphins released. You feel good. So say you're already exercising, you've got that, but you still have
a bit of the blahs.
The blahs. I find, and there's some science in this, and maybe you can talk a little bit about this, but the change in temperature, like whether it be you go and splash your face with cold water, but that massive contrast in temperature, or going from a warm house to outside where it's like 5 degrees outside, fresh air, really invigorates you.
Yeah. Or the other way.
Go ahead.
Which is getting a sauna.
Yeah.
Right. Basically, it's kind of getting some, temperature variation from room temperature.
Right.
So.
Like, what does that do to you, physically speaking? Like, what is going on there?
Which? The sauna?
Cold. Let's
cold?
start with cold.
Okay. Yeah. So cold, part of it is just a psychological contrast thing. If it's cold enough, but this would be cold showers, ice plunge, go out in your underpants in the wintertime, there's something called cold shock proteins, anti-inflammatory, you're getting like a dopamine hit, endorphins, basically when you stop doing it, right? Just like, if you hurt something and you put ice on it, right? Initially, it restricts circulation because the cold constricts. But then when you come back into something warmer, you vasodilate and you're flushed with blood, and lots of oxygen and energy.
Okay.
So there's some benefits there. both physically, but also mentally, right? You're wide awake, when you go out in the cold.
Yeah. I found it really enjoyable tonight, like going for that walk after a meal, which actually is something that's really healthy to do. I think you said that there's been some studies done that a group of people were, like populations that go for at least like a 10-minute walk right after a meal have a what percentage chance of not only losing weight?
Well, so after
there's a number of things, like probably your blood sugar.
Yeah, blood sugar is regulated. Like basically a 10-minute walk after each meal.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, is about as effective as the prescription diabetes drug metformin, as far as regulating blood sugar.
Interesting.
So that's pretty cool. And
do you have to be at a brisk walk? Is it a certain?
Yeah, like it's don't mosey. You don't have to be speed walking like, the old people in the mall with their butt cheeks all, but, like just a good walk.
Yeah.
And then,
and for how long would you say that has to be a minimum of?
10 minutes. Like that's what the study was
10
done
minutes,
with.
right. I did say that. Okay.
And what they found is that the 10-minute walking group, with no changes to diet, all they did was, do a 10-minute walk after every meal. After, I think it was 6 months, dropped 7 pounds.
Wow.
Which, over 6 months, if you're trying to lose weight, isn't a huge, wow, you dropped 7 pounds in 6 months. But dropping that when you weren't trying to, and it was body fat.
Yeah.
So there's basically fitness benefits to exercise. There's health benefits to exercise, both short term and long term. And then there's mental, and really, I hate that we make a distinction between health and mental health.
Yeah.
Right. If you're physically unhealthy, you're probably not mentally healthy. And if you're have mental health problems, you're probably not physically healthy.
That's interesting, actually.
You know what I mean?
To look at it from that perspective.
Like it's just health.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because we know that the exercise does a ton of benefit for your overall general health, physical health, but mental health. It's just yeah.
Like it just does your health. Period. Right? Because and we run into the thing where I think some of the mental health things, the way people would coin them, or the psychological benefits, some of them will come, I think, because your brain is the most metabolically demanding organ in your body. If your body isn't as metabolically healthy or as efficient as it could be, it can't feed your brain as well as it could be. Right? Like I saw a really great quote that food is the most overused antidepressant, and exercise is the most underused antidepressant. Because, when people are feeling bad, they eat.
Right.
Right. So I think if we could get more people when they're feeling bad to move rather than eat comfort foods, we would see just a dramatic improvement. And one of the other cool things I think you run into is that there's the social aspect, right? We know people's mental health and physical health, like because they're connected, right? Improves the better their social situation is. And so it's adding in things. Like if you can find activities to do in a social environment, right? Dance classes, right? And they're perfect this time of year because it's got to be indoor shit most of the time, right?
Right.
So dance classes. If you've never done it, start taking jujitsu. Find a school that's, kind of gentle and playful and good for beginners. But like so many people have become addicted to jujitsu, right? And you have like a tribe, and people that you hang out with. And,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it felt good. We actually it's been over 3.5 years. It's not crazy that we were members at our climbing gym, and shout out to Core.
Yeah.
We just signed up yesterday because we were talking about how, you know, we need to add more activity to our lifestyle, and it's something we enjoy. We can do as a family. But also great from a lighting perspective. Like,
because it's bright.
It's bright in there. And
there's
there is
people.
a tribe. It felt really good going there yesterday. I'm like, it's like we've come home.
Yeah.
It felt like that.
Yeah, because we hadn't gone like because of the pandemic.
No, and it felt very vibrant. There was a lot of people.
Yeah.
People knew each other. People were friendly, you know, and everybody's always cheering you on, regardless if they know you or not. If they see you try hard, and especially if they see you like a few times, they start to chat with you, and you're trying the same climb.
Yeah.
You take turns. If there's effort there, people always cheer the try hard.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're a beginner, you know, or you're an expert. There's this common appreciation for that.
You know, yeah, like, and I think that's one of those things, like, I could recommend to anybody. You know, if you are affected by mood in the fall,
yeah,
and especially if you don't have any winter sports you do, so it can be just as bad for when winter comes. Is find something like that where you're going to go 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
You know?
It's interesting because growing up, we didn't, in my family, value sport as a means or exercise as a means to taking care of your mental health. And I don't think that a lot of people did either. But, or maybe unless they were naturally an athletic family, but it certainly wasn't talked about. So it's just interesting. Where was I going with this? I lost my train of thought. Anyway, it's definitely something we talk about, and it's important. So I'm glad to be back at that. So I think, you know, finding the things that bring you joy.
Yeah.
Be like a kid.
Yeah.
You're an adult, right? But, you know, get out there and play, you know. We had a tremendous amount of time, of good time with our daughters, or my daughter's 12th birthday. We had Winston used to be a DJ, so we stuffed in her basement what you would put in a Legion hall or something for 300 people.
Yeah,
of sound equipment and lights, and we had a party for the kids, and we're like, oh my god, this is so amazing. We got to like extend this a couple more days, and we had our own party with our friends, and yeah. And it was just so fun. Like, and we always really enjoy that. And this is not exercise as far as like, you know, watching videos on YouTube, and, you know, but, you know, these things are important. Like, we're talking about mental health here, right? Or overall health, and just making sure that, you know, you do include the things that bring you joy.
Yeah. Because
with others, or it makes, you know, just life a lot more fun.
Yeah. Because when it was one of those things, like having the music, because in the basement we can really get you know, when you turn off all the lights, it's dark as shit down there.
Yeah. With the fog machine going,
and we had lasers and a bunch of, like, you know, robotic disco lights. You know, like, it was trippy as shit.
Yeah.
But it was one of these things, like, it's so cool because normally when I DJ'd, it was, you know, it's a gig for somebody, right? I'm being paid to do it, right? But it's like, no, I'm making playlists, you know, and obviously I was kind of the DJ for Amanda's. But then we kept the rental gear an extra night and then invited a bunch of people over on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And I'm just making playlists with this, like, hey, let's throw some Cure in there, and like, let's throw in this, and we put some Cult on, and you know, it was like kind of the retro alternative stuff, and just fun music.
Yeah, but it was great that, you know, of all ages, like kids, us, backgrounds, like everybody was just really enjoying the lights and the music. It was fun. It was good fun had by all. So that was just incredible.
And you get some exercise because you're dancing.
Yeah.
So
for definitely finding those winter activities indoors that you can go out and do is important. And, you know, for the social aspect as well. I think we were we were just talking for a moment about the cold therapy.
Yeah.
Where we mentioned the hot therapy, and we'll do a dedicated episode on this on sauna use. But yeah, we got an infrared sauna.
Yeah.
And that has its benefits, tremendous benefits. But one in terms of mood, there was actually a study done where Dr. Rhonda, what's her last name?
Patrick.
Thank you. She was citing a study where people with depression, they were finding that one use of a sauna for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes at the right, and this is a regular sauna, not infrared.
Yeah.
It's a little hotter. I think they had it all the way up to around.
It was like 180 degrees.
Yeah. Actually.
180 Fahrenheit, not Celsius.
Basically, they were able to, they had a positive effect for about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think they didn't need to, was it use some medication or it was quite significant. And she was saying that there really needs to be more studies on this because it's quite, the research and the findings of this one study, and you don't want to just rely on one study, but it was quite promising.
Yeah. Well, one of the fascinating things, there's a ton of research on health benefits of saunas, and it's all done in Finland. Right? Because they're the sauna people. Right. It's a culture. Like a sauna is a social thing.
Oh, yeah. Pretty much every household has one.
Yeah.
It's just expected in the Scandinavian countries and in Russia, and hot and cold therapy. Like, it's just part of their life.
Yeah.
Right?
They're basically the hot is the sauna and the cold is go outside.
Yeah. It's just life.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and actually they say that in the sauna it also helps with increased concentration, she's found. But, with her being a scientist, and being in the field that, there's a lot of experiments that fail and it can be frustrating and demoralizing. She had found that, just in her own personal experience, she was just saying that it had been something that she had discovered early on at the gym and really took to. And then it wasn't until that she started to really investigate it further from a health perspective.
Yeah, because she's a cancer researcher, right? It's funny. She's become like a health communicator.
Right.
Because she's good at dumbing down, stuff that the rest of us can understand.
Right.
But, and it's kind of fascinating because you've got the, like a whole raft of scientists and doctors who are, basically well positioned to analyze the research and, are pretty concisely conveying to people, this is how you lose fat. This is how you improve your cardiovascular health. This is how you sleep better. You know what I mean? Like, and because between, if you think of it, like, Andrew Huberman, Peter Attia, Rhonda Patrick, what's the other guy?
The one that criticizes celebrity workouts. He's a doctor.
Oh yeah, doctor. the roided up professional bodybuilder who's also PhD in exercise physiology, who's funny as shit. Dr. Mike Israetel. Probably one of the premier.
Does he get into the health? He's more in the performance, right? Of what actually works.
But he that's the majority of his stuff. But he does talk about health as well. His sort of focus is on hypertrophy and fat loss because he's a bodybuilder, right?
Right.
That's a lot of his content.
Right.
But then who was else? Oh shit. It'll come to me. But what we have is like a lot of really brilliant people. Dr. Andy Galpin, who's a doctor of sports physiology, I think. But big researcher, runs a lab, but also works. And I think this is the cool thing with a lot of these is that they're researchers, but they practically work with, athletes or patients or, so it's not just, well, this is what the studies say, but it's like, this is what the studies say. Mm-hmm. And here's how we've applied it, and it's worked in the real world, because studies have certain limitations. Mm-hmm. And, it is really quite fascinating, because there's more bullshit out there than there's ever been. Mm. But there's also, because of the internet, these people, among others, are also in a position to call bullshit on the bullshit.
Right.
Right? Like, that's what a lot of Dr. Mike's, Dr. Mike Israel's videos are. Mm-hmm. Right? He's got, like, very specific, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Scientific breakdown,
Yeah.
He does 3 main types of videos. One is, like, literal scientific breakdowns of this is how a thing works, mm-hmm. And how to do a thing to get your result you're after. Then he's got him taking some type of celebrity, whether it's a pro bodybuilder or just a celebrity or a YouTuber. No, taking them through a workout.
Oh, okay.
And it's basically, just mean because he's got them training optimally for muscle growth, which is just painful. Mm. And then there's his look at celebrity workout videos,
right?
Or and critique them, and most of them are bullshit.
Yeah,
although the one, and I forget what the guy's name was, like a celebrity trainer.
Well, he did one with The Rock. He was critiquing him, and he was impressed with most of it.
Yeah. But there was one celebrity trainer who was talking about, I forget who he trained for a movie. And, Dr. Mike's like, yeah, okay, all of you Hollywood people, fire your trainers and hire this guy. Because out of everything I've seen is the only one that isn't full of shit, with a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like basically just smart programming, good exercises, no nonsense.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like we are at a point where a lot of this information, it really, and it's a thing. I know it can be probably daunting for people, and that's sort of part of what we're doing is breaking it down into actionable bites for people to be able to actually do something.
Right. And especially things that can get you on that momentum trajectory, right? That give you immediate benefits. I do feel that change in temperature is phenomenal, especially
for
going
mood.
From warm to cold.
Yeah.
Going for a walk, it's good to get moving. It's just a change of scenery and it's fresh air. It's really good for you. I find it.
Yeah. Cold is good to wake you up.
Yeah.
And then being cold and then going to warm will put you to sleep. Mm-hmm. Because you ever get inside when you're cold and you get all wrapped up.
And it's just very soothing.
And you're ready just to go right to bed.
Yeah. Let's talk about supplements for a minute. And I know vitamin D is a big one.
Yeah. Because obviously you're not getting it from the sun.
Right.
So vitamin D, sort of a safe bet is like 5,000 IUs a day. Mm-hmm. Something we do year round just to make sure you always have enough.
Right.
Fish oil.
For mood?
Well, basically.
For body function, get everything.
Yeah, because it's anti-inflammatory. It's good for your cardiovascular system. And so if all that's working better, it can't hurt for your mood.
Right.
Because definitely those things not working well can be bad for your mood.
Hydration.
Properly staying hydrated.
What's the minimum we need to be drinking as adults?
It's a hard... The only like real answer I can give you is it depends. Because it depends how much you sweat. It depends on how big you are. you know, you'll run into the thing where on average, like, you know, kind of a minimum of 2 to 3 liters a day. But you want to make sure you're getting enough electrolytes in as well.
Okay, so I was just thinking about that, making sure you have all the nutrients in your body to function properly. We've talked about this in the past, but getting your blood panels done, right?
Yeah. See, if you're deficient in anything.
That's right. We had a friend that was deficient in magnesium, I believe.
Yeah.
I think it's common for women, and that's an energy
It's a
boost
bunch of things. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's worthwhile doing if, you know, we always do it once a year to make sure everything's where it should be, or because if there's any drastic change, that's also a good sign, indicator of something being off.
Yeah.
So we talked about vitamin D. Any other supplements?
Yeah. So vitamin D, fish oil, magnesium, magnesium biglycinate is your ideal, the most absorbable form. You know, about 500 milligrams a day. If you take the magnesium before bed, it'll help your body relax and you sleep better. You know, but if you're like Catherine, she just takes all her supplements in the morning because otherwise she'll never remember to do it. You know, so it's better to get it, you know, in the morning, than not get it at all. So, you know, I'm not faulting you on that one. And then, enough B vitamins like B12, B6, you know, but whether you're deficient in any of these, it's hard to say because it depends on what your diet is, what your activity levels. And that's where, again,
ideally you get it from your diet.
Yeah. You know, the vitamin D and the magnesium, most people in North America are deficient. Right. So that's where supplementing is a pretty safe bet. You know, because with magnesium, because our soil, we get like so many turns of crops per year.
Right. It depletes all the nutrients.
There just isn't as much minerals in the soil anymore. So, you know, the having a lower level of magnesium is pretty common. I think 58% of people in North America, when they did a sort of analysis, are deficient.
I was listening to a podcast recently, something where they mentioned about caffeine and coffee.
Yeah.
There was a reason why it was bad for health. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, because I have no reason why coffee or caffeine would be bad.
It was caffeine. It just wasn't helpful. Obviously, it's a diuretic, right?
Yeah, but that's easy enough to get enough fluid in.
Like if you don't get enough fluid to begin with,
yeah,
that can be just, you know.
But so coffee itself, in addition to the caffeine, has a bunch of polyphenols and stuff in it, which are antioxidants. So that's good. And if somebody doesn't have like high blood pressure or something like that, then
I've been told to drink coffee when I used to give blood.
Yeah.
Because I'm on the lower end.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Anyways, I remember once concluding, I'm like, oh, okay, so I shouldn't. Maybe it was because I wasn't drinking enough water. And that was just counteracting what I was trying to do because it's a diuretic, right?
Yeah. But it's not a crazy diuretic, right? Like it's not like a prescription one that bodybuilders would use.
Yeah. But it is interesting from an energy perspective because you have caffeine pills. Is there any negative or downside from taking caffeine pills daily?
Only the fact that anytime you're a habitual user of any stimulant, if you stop using it, you'll probably get headaches for a few days.
Right.
Because they're a vasodilator. They open up blood vessels.
Right.
Which is why, you know, in addition to the norepinephrine or adrenaline increase that you get from the caffeine, which is where you get that energy, they do open up blood vessels. So when you don't get it, the blood vessels in your brain aren't being triggered to open like they had been. So until your body adapts for that, you can get headaches.
Yeah. So curious, because I can drink a coffee and go to bed.
Yeah.
So how much caffeine's in a tablet versus in a coffee?
About a tablet's got about twice as much as a coffee.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I find the caffeine tablets work for me to like wake up if I need it, right? Whereas a coffee does not.
Well, because it's also
the way because there's cream in it too. So
yeah, the way the caffeine tablets are metabolized, they hit your system.
Okay.
So it's twice as much caffeine and it gets in your system quicker.
Got it.
Whereas if you've got cream in your coffee, it slows down the digestion and the absorption.
Tastes so much better though.
Yeah, but it's always one of those things where if you got less caffeine and you're trickling it into the system,
got it.
You're never going to get as big of a kick out of it.
Yeah. Okay. Any other takeaways?
Yeah, I think the big one is, anytime you can, try to plan in, like physical go out things, go bowling even. Where you're being social, you're being active, all of those things. Like as humans, we need that, right? And it's so easy if you're already a little bit tired, it's already dark when you get home from work. It's so easy just to curl up on a couch and Netflix without the chill.
Right.
Because that's Netflix and chill is code for like Netflix and sex.
Oh, okay.
But if you're too tired, you don't do the sex part. But it's sit around, eat comfort foods, watch. So you're eating hyper palatable snacky foods and you're not being active, right? And it becomes a vicious circle in the wrong direction.
Right.
So sometimes when you're feeling a little bit it does take like a little bit of just a commitment or a willpower.
It does, yeah.
To initially move.
Yeah.
But once you do,
yeah,
it's like, oh man, that's pretty cool. I feel pretty good.
I think there's a big difference for people when you schedule things, you pay for them, you commit to them.
Yeah.
You go do it, whether you are dragging your ass or not. I mean, it's like that when I was coaching soccer on the weekend. I didn't want to go. But once you're there, it was fun. Yeah. Right? And you're not sitting down, you're not eating. Yeah.
Yeah, I think half the reason we overeat is we're bored.
We're bored.
Right? Yeah. And it's one of those things. If you find those fun things, and that's where, like with us as a family, it's like off to the climbing gym, or whatever. Go play laser tag, go play paintball, go cross country skiing, or whatever as the weather permits. Whatever things you can get. People out, like as a family you go do. Yeah. Because I think one of the problems that happens so much with parents, they take their kids to things. The kid's active, playing not. Soccer, but then they're just sitting there. Right.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about that for all you Jordan Peterson fans or not fan. There's a chapter in his one book called The Book of 12 Rules of Life. And it's take care of yourself like you're somebody you're responsible for.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was thinking about it as we were talking about yesterday. Whether you like it or not, it's actually something we've required that one of our kids do as a
punishment.
As a punishment, you have to read one chapter a month for the rest of the year because there's 12 chapters, and then write an essay on each. Yeah, we don't care if they agree with it or not, but just read it. And we think it's a good exercise. I was thinking about that and how. Here I am driving the kids all over to their activities and I'm not getting, where's my activity? That's why, at times I'm like, no, I need to go and work out. I need to go do this. And I'm not going to do this for you because I need to take care of myself. I'm getting really moody. And Hudson, I think he really understands it and appreciates it because he gets really moody and see if he doesn't burn some energy.
Mm-hmm.
He gets really upset. Right. And I'm actually really glad he's that kind of kid than somebody that's quite content sitting in front of a TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite true. Parents fall into that trap. And so making that a priority, it's just, once you set it in stone or you put it into action. But it's a worthwhile investment, even if you're going to the gym, sign up for like a program within it.
Yeah.
Just to make sure you do go. Because the social piece, I think, just makes it much more of a reason to join and more fun. And whether you do go for drinks after or whatever, it doesn't matter. You're getting out.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things, like, I'm not going to go in the deep rabbit hole of like, sort of issues I have with the programming with like CrossFit, for instance.
Right.
But they are the goddamn kings
of tribe.
Yeah.
And community. Yeah, it's really good.
Because it's always group classes.
Yeah.
You're working with the same group all the time.
Yeah.
There's like both camaraderie and competition.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things like the people show up.
Oh, I will say, because I was uncertain of how this was really going to go. I bought the Neo Tax.
The Tax Neo.
Neo. Thank you. Trainer. For my bike, to help me continue, riding this winter. And so along with it, you have to subscribe to a platform out there. So I subscribe to Ruvi, and which, has a bunch of videos of real live rides. So it's not cartoonish. Mm-hmm. And you can either ride with other people or you ride with ghost riders. I tell you, it really motivates me. Like, normally I just do a zone 2 ride. It's hard for me to get to my heart rate. I do like how the unit, automatically programs in intervals with hills, So you just do. And because there's these other riders there and they're always around you, it pushes me. I never worked that hard. I think I was doing a VO2 max workout one day, and I would never do that on my own. So that was great. Yeah. Like getting me, the computer tricked me. Yeah. To actually work a lot harder than what I would normally do on my own. Yeah. Because basically with this unit, you take the rear wheel off your bike and mount your bike right on it. Yeah. And it's got a set of gears, so your chain is driving the unit directly. And it's basically it's an awesome. It's good. I will say, as a relatively new indoor rider, using a trainer, I think there's some improvements. All innovation CTOs out there. I think they should have goggles and do the whole AR VR thing with the wind in the goggles, so that it feels like you're riding and you're completely immersed. I mean, because that's the part that I love, is when you're out there and feeling the fresh air on your face. And they should have it completely all set up, at least with the goggles. I think that would be cool. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah. It's funny because as somebody who stared at a blank wall riding a trainer for the better part of 20 years. Yeah, but you and a bunch of people have had PTSD from that. That's all I hear from people who used to race competitively and they used to train like their asses off. Yeah. And they never want to go back. Yeah, because the thing is, this actually seems to make it fun. Right? We did it because you had to, or else you were going to get your ass kicked come spring. You're going to get your ass kicked anyway, but it just gets kicked less. But did you find when you were doing that, people would just bring their trainers to each other's homes and work out together? Sometimes, yeah. Yeah. Like, but, I ran into the thing, a lot of my training was on my own. Right. Because when I was doing group stuff, I was coaching. Yeah. Right. So it'd be one of those things where I'd just be in the back of the shop. The only thing I had going for me is if it was after hours, I could crank the tunes. Yeah. But hell, half the time it was just in my own basement at home. Yeah. Yeah. Watching TV, I suppose. No, I didn't have a TV. No, I was staring at the wall. Earbuds in maybe. Right. Yeah. Back when it was iPods. You remember those? Yeah. Yeah. Early on, it was Walkmans. I know, eh? Yeah. 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 So, anyways, I found that to be really a lot of fun. Yeah. Another trick to get you to try a little harder when you may not find, being on a trainer in general not great, as great, or, not the same. Not as fun as riding outside. Yeah. Of course not, right? But yeah, I think having a couple, really, in a sense, we've for us laid out almost the perfect thing. A couple times a week, if I can get your ass into the basement first thing in the morning, right? Yeah. A couple times you get on the trainer,
couple of times we go to the climbing gym.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out the more AM walking or something. You know, I think that I used to do it.
Yeah.
You know, with a weighted vest and my hiking poles. Didn't think anything of it. And listen to some music. Go for about 35 minutes. It was great.
Yeah.
Get those steps in. After meals, I think is nice.
Mm-hmm.
But just from a relaxation, like a mood, I think it's a great way to start the day.
Yeah, because are you still listening to your Buddhist podcasts with that weird-ass Australian?
I can't remember the name of that. No, because I can't remember. I'm sure I could find it. He's quite popular and he's funny. He's just very lighthearted and funny. Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I really enjoyed him. Yeah.
You know, because that was sort of one of the things you were always listening to for a while.
I was, and it was at a time that I was going through a lot of anxiety. You know, I found it tremendously because it was just getting out of my own head.
Yeah.
Having a different lens on the world, right?
Yeah.
So again, mental health, right? Taking a step back from how you look at things. Yeah, I find that that's really helpful to set your day.
Yeah. Well, so basically we would like to hear from you guys. Like, what do you do to make it through? That does not involve just sitting and, you know, watching a marathon of Lord of the Rings while eating giant bowls of ice cream. Although that does sound fun, doesn't it? You know, yeah. So if you guys have any ways that you cope with this time of year, the seasonal affective disorder, we'd love to hear about it. You guys can always reach out to us on Instagram. It is livewild_radio. Live Wild Radio on Facebook. livewildradio.com is our home on the internet where you can get our podcasts if you're not getting them off the Spotify or the Apple Podcasts or the Google Podcasts. No, Google Podcasts is turning into YouTube Podcasts. Everything keeps changing in the world. Yeah. And for anybody who wants more information about my coaching programs, they are on livewildradio.com as well. And if you go to our website, a handy little pop-up will pop and offer you a free download of our Turning Back the Clock ebook on using the power of exercise to look and feel 20 years younger. I don't think that's the actual tag for it, but you know, but it's turning back the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is available. Yeah, can you believe like this is episode like 102?
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's
So
not
much
like
has changed.
it's not the episode 5,000 of like Joe Rogan's show.
No.
But we're not getting none of that Spotify money. So
That's right. So. Yeah.
You know, we'll still do our civilian jobs.
Yeah.
So
get out there and move.
Yeah.
It'll make you feel better.
And don't forget to work hard
and play dirty.